This was actually a really good episode considering that we've got a new couple that's come in. Kieran and Christina. This is my 12th episode and I didn't realise that her name was Christina. Then the friend asks about the intimacy, how's that going and stuff, and they're like, yeah. I just cannot imagine having this conversation with my mum. So the new couple are introduced. You got Amy, Luke, who is Maltese. Now, I think where the problem started is when he started talking. Oh, what star sign? Sorry. What star sign are you? She's like, oh, I'm an Aries. He's like, oh, Aries. He's like, I'm a Pisces. Water and fire, I think he said. I'm bubbling over, like I'm gonna need the water to cool me down or something. Like, just really like, all right. Now, before I say anything else, right, I'm not one who likes to talk about people's parents. I will try and be as respectful as I can. She's like, I've never met a vegetarian before. It's 2024. Do you love her? He hasn't tasted the food. What go on people then? So just finished watching episode 12 of MAFS. And this was actually a really good episode considering that we've got a new couple that's come in. And we only really looked at two other marriages. So we looked at Kieran and Christina. This is my 12th episode and I didn't realise that her name was Christina. I thought it was Christine. I mean, it's a very, very small difference, yeah, but her name is Christina. Right? So, okay. So Kieran and Christina. We also looked at Nathan and Lacey as well. And then we looked at a new couple, Amy and Luke. So let's start off with Kieran and Christina. So they're all reading like this envelope thing as to like who's coming over to their dinner, and even as she's reading it, Christina's already crying. Yeah, bless her. And her bestie's coming, it looks like, and it looks like what's called him, Luke, Kieran's mum's coming, his mum. And he's like, yeah, it'd be really good to kind of get like some like motherly advice and stuff and just like put her mind at rest. And she's like, oh my God, it's going to be so good just to kind of see her and hug her and whatever. They rock up, and to be fair, I don't think it could have gone any better. They rock up. Christina's already crying, so happy to see Kieran's mum. She's just crying. She's hugging her. Her friend comes and she's crying some more. And she's like, are you all right? And her friend's like, are you all right? And then they come in and I don't know. I was really interested to find out what was actually in the bowl. I don't know what it looked like, some kind of pastry type of garlic bread type of situation. Anyway, so they're asking some really good questions, really, how have things been? And they're like, yep, it's been like a whirlwind. I'm really happy. We care about each other so much. And they were really honest about what the experts had said to them about, like, when I ask him if he's okay, he needs to be able to tell me when he's not okay. And his mum's like, yep, the one thing that you need in any relationship is just honesty and being open and being willing to talk to each other. And her friend is like, it's just so awesome to see you look so happy together, and it seems like really natural. They're talking and she's just like, yeah, I just care so much about Kieran. And his mum was like, oh, I've never heard anyone say that. And then imagine for a mum, it must be so sick to hear someone that you've met on this radical TV show, which kind of seems like it's probably not going to work because so many of them don't work. But then in that moment at dinner, she's telling you how much she cares about your son. That's so sick. And then the friend asks about the intimacy, how's that going and stuff, and they're like, yeah. And I just cannot imagine having this conversation with my mom. At the same time, like, I understand why you're asking the question, because it's like these things are all important in a successful relationship, aren't they? So there is going to be interest around it. And look, everything else is quite open on the TV right now, so realistically that's just, we're all grown here. But yeah, that was a proper awkward bit, and Kieran just like, yeah, we've done bits. We've done bits. And then Christina's like, yeah, we have been intimate, and like, was it good? And it's like, Mum. It's so funny. Yeah, it just felt really natural, and they were saying it just feels like you guys have been married together for ages, for years, and it's just so nice to see how natural it is between the two of you. You look so happy. I'm getting emotional just seeing how happy you are, and I think that's just a real. You couldn't have asked for any better. Do you know what I mean? For the first kind of like letting the outside world in, which are the closest people, you couldn't have asked for any better. And I just felt really happy for them in that moment, that they seem really, really well suited. So, you know, that's really cool. So the new couple are introduced. You got Amy, and you know, she's a wedding planner, and you know, she's a gorgeous girl, and she's been single for a while. She's 27. She's like, you know, I'm really looking for someone that will treat me right because her last relationship didn't. And I think she was saying as well that like being a wedding planner, you get to see people who are happy and people who are really well suited, and sometimes you get a bit jealous and stuff. But I think it's standard, right? If you're forever not just the bridesmaid but the party planner, that's like plan out the balloons and whatever, but you ain't got no one to pop them with, that is going to be a little bit like, where's mine going to happen? So I do understand, or I can at least empathise with that. She talks about how close she's with her mum, but she's a daddy's girl. Her dad's got cancer, which is really, really sad. And there's this whole thing about whether or not he's going to be able to actually attend the wedding. You then cut to Luke, who is Maltese. Again, like strapping young guy, like good looking guy, built like a door, who used to compete. Actually, used to compete in these like big bodybuilding competitions and stuff. But he's definitely more than just the bulk. Do you know what I mean? Like he's got a mind. I think to his words, he likes to put the imagery in people's minds as he's talking. Like so, he's very emphatic. He's a poet. Like he just got layers, it seems like. And he said that his friends would probably say that he's funny, but like unintentionally, like just because he's probably a little bit intense and passionate. So on paper, to me, it seems as though these guys will absolutely hit it off. All I get thinking as well at the same time though, I was like, imagine like some of the grooms who the OG grooms that have been like, I'm not attracted to my wife. Like when they see her, I'm sure they're gonna be like, so what happened with my application? Do you know what I mean? Not that there's anything wrong with the wives that they have, but considering like what they've said already, like it'd be very interesting to kind of just see like what their impression will be when they meet Luke and Amy. But anyway, so they fire steam ahead with the wedding. They both look great. I think his suit looked amazing. Loved the fact he had like the Maltese star on his lapel. She looked great. Her dad managed to make it to the wedding, which was also really, really awesome. And yeah, the wedding happens. That like he walks through. Like it seems to be that the bridesmaids are already smitten. Like just like, oh my gosh, like I think he seems really cool. Good eye contact and whatever. And then when Amy walks through, he's just like, wow, 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 wow. And I think initially, unless I'd seen the VT, I would have also thought that she was also like a bit wow. So she was like, yeah, he's a handsome guy. He is very. Some people are very uncomfortable with that level of eye contact, I think, which I can kind of appreciate to some degree, but I'm also like, it is a real test of character that someone can keep your gaze and not feel intimidated that they have to look away. So I don't think that in itself is a bad thing, but I think the vows are really good. I think, she wrote a poem, which I thought was really sweet. He's seemed a little bit more intense, I think, but again, still seemed really sweet and hopeful. They had a kiss. They started with a kiss, and they walked out, and it was all great. Now, I think where the problem started is when he started talking. I think she was like, he's handsome to look at and he's attractive, but then there's a few bars he's got in there which are probably a little bit cheesy. But that's him just trying to woo her. When they were like taking the pictures and stuff, then he's like holding her hands and like the little like thumb bits and stuff, which I've since found out. But I think I would personally really find that quite quite nice. But not everyone's gonna find that quite nice when I don't know you, and like the whole putting your head towards someone and being that close and just holding it there. It's like I just don't really know this person. It feels really artificial. So I do understand what you're saying, and then obviously he's making like comments about oh, you're just so beautiful, like, oh, what star sign? Sorry. What star sign are you? She's like, oh, I'm an Aries. He's like, oh, Aries. Like, I'm a Pisces. He's like, oh, water and fire, I think he said. And he's like, oh, well, I'm bubbling over. Like I'm gonna need the water to cool me down or something. Like just really like all right. And then he made another comment. Being was like, oh, like I eat in my eyes and I'm already full. It's just like it doesn't really change your lives, bro. But at the same time, I'm just like he seems like he's just really sincere. At the same time, like You know, he's like the friends were saying, like he didn't take his eyes off her the whole time, and I think that's a real, that is something. I mean, it's a real something when someone can be so instantly like in amazement by you. I think it's a really good sign. In a way, unless there's some crazy kind of stalker, but like I think in a way to have that kind of meeting, because at some point she was like, I'm just not feeling it. I feel like it might be a bit too intense, and she's like, he's kind of giving me the ick a bit, and I'm just like, you. This is why people can't have nothing good. It's why people can't have nothing good. You've got this guy here who is 6 foot, 8 foot 12, like built, like he's intelligent, he's got sense, like he likes you, like, and he's letting you know in this very artificial environment that, boy, I like you, you know, and you're like, I'm getting the ick. He's a little bit intense. Like even when he was going to compliment like the mum and stuff, and I don't know whether maybe it's a bit of a language barrier thing, because obviously like you do wanna compliment them, like, oh, you know, like she's gorgeous just like her mum. You know, that is very simple to say that. If your language barrier, if there is one that he has, like doesn't prevent you from doing that, because he's like, oh, you know, oh, and it's very clear to see that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but but it didn't. It still made it sound even more Elizabethan than that. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, okay, and then she clearly felt uncomfortable with it a little bit, because even she was like, oh, well, it's not me that says that spend time with him. So I'm like, whoa. And then go over to the dad and like, you know, I just wanted to, which again, great thing, want to introduce myself, stay safe, you know, shake your hand. You know, I don't know whether he'd really planned out what he wanted to say, because he was like, I just wanted to say, you know, I thought he was going to say, look, you know, I know this is a crazy, crazy, crazy experience. Thank you so much for supporting Amy and being here. And I know you've just met me. He's like, but I just want to reassure you that I'm a good guy. I'm going to treat her well with respect. And I'm really, really hopeful about where this can go. You know, it's saying the things that I think a parent would want to hear without saying too much. But to be like, you know, I just want to commend you like on the amazing job you've done and raising her, and it's like you've known her for literally like 22 minutes probably, so you probably don't know enough about her to be like, you've done a good job. How do you know? I mean, that'd be my first thing. It's just like, I appreciate the sentiment, but you see all this kind of like, you know, the secret milk tray like kind of antic. I don't know how I feel about that. The young people won't even understand that reference. Milk tray man was a big deal back in the day. So I kind of understand where she's a bit like, it's a bit full on and stuff, but I think everyone's style of flirting, like my game is terrible. Like I'm so bad when it comes to like even picking up on the fact that someone likes me. So not everyone's good with their words and what they say, and he's probably just like, I'm just gonna try. In fact, I think he even said that, like, if there's ever gonna be a time to try, it's now. But I think when they got some time alone and they were able to kind of chill, as they all seem to do, like outside on the bench with the blanket, I think they were able to really at least understand each other a bit more. Oh, sorry, just before that, his best man, I guess, you know, loose lips, let slip that obviously he's done like the whole butler in the buff thing. So I'm intrigued to find out what happens with this, because the friend was like, it's something that we used to do, we do bits and pieces now. So when she asked Luke about it, I was like, oh, do you do the whole butler in the buff thing? I was like, oh yeah, I have done that in the past. And she's like, do you do that now? And he's like, oh, no. And she made a point of being like, okay, cool. Just to be clear, honesty is really important. And he was like, yeah. Like, if it's not, then what's the point? So I hope that that was the truth and that he's not still doing it, because you don't want to start off something with a lie, because that will just, you know, that was just, everything after that point. Then you're like, so you've got the capacity to sit down there and lie to me in front of other people with the cameras rolling. That's not a good look. So I just hope that gets looked at as to, well, what did you actually mean by that? But you know, it looks as though once she had a good chat with her friends, because her friends were like, look, like, what, she's like, oh, you know, he just keeps staring at me. And she's like, why would you not want someone to not look at you? Like, what did, like, you know, he's a good guy, he looks like a good guy. You know, you've got to, they've put you together for a reason. Like, you've got to give it a chance and stuff, and things do grow, like, so give it a chance. So I think once she'd had some time with them, I think she's probably a little bit more open to giving it a chance. And I think she even said to him, like, you know, I think now is the time for me to have something a bit more, a bit different. Like, you're clearly a gentleman, and she's not really had that before. You know, I love the fact that they spoke in her Malta, when she's like, oh, in Malta we say Saha, for cheers and stuff. And I just think there was just a bit of getting to see a bit more of him, about what he's about, and he's like, you know, I want a marriage of the mind before anything else. And yeah, I think that was a really, it just seemed to end better than maybe where the middle part was, which is really good. So so yeah, I'm hopeful for the two of them, because I think he comes across like he's in it for the right reasons, and I just think he's really cool. I think he's got this kind of like cheeky chappy element about him, and again, he looks, I mean, amazing, I think, and he seems like he's already smitten by her, and I think these are the kind of things that you really want to start things off with, right? Like an immediate attraction, or at least one that you think will grow. Someone that seems like that they're in it for the right reasons. Someone that's got actually something to say. You know, we've seen weddings already where they look at Adam and Polly. He didn't say nothing to her nice, not a thing. So I think, you know, it's nice to see there is some element of, yeah, you look great, and you know, she was nice to him too as well. So yeah, let's see where that goes. But I think he's gonna be funny. I think he's gonna be jokes, man. Nathan and Lacey. So there's always a part in this show that just makes me howl. Like, there was, honestly. So they're cooking for Lacey's mum and sister, right? So the twin sister and the mum, right? So remember the mum from episode 1 or 2, when she saw Nathan, was all like, "Oh yeah, mama approves." Yeah. Now, before I say anything else, right? I'm not one who likes to talk about people's parents or anything like that, because you know, their parents. Do you know what I mean? And that's somebody's mama. Do you know what I mean? However, it would be remiss of me to have a reaction channel that where I'm reacting to a show like this and not be honest about what I've just witnessed. So just bear that in mind. I will try and be as respectful as I can. So it's cooking for the mum and the sister, and they get there, and you know, it's all, you know, my family's loud as well, so that whole greeting and stuff, I can just imagine like that. They come in and she's like, yeah, cool. She's like, oh, we're gonna cook, so I brought food for us to cook. And now I don't understand, I don't know how it works, or whether or not there's any kind of mobile contact or anything like that, that maybe, because I can't imagine the mum would have deliberately been like, I'm going to bring food that you can't eat. But basically, he's a vegetarian, so he can't eat chicken, and she's brought stuff to make both her and Lacey's favourite meal, which is fajitas. And you know, I like a good chicken fajita. I mean, I do love fajitas, but I need to have everything. Like, I'm not saying that didn't look nice, because the peppers and stuff, it looked seasoned by the end. But I didn't see no guac, I didn't see no cheese, I didn't see no sour cream. So I was a bit like, them look a bit dry, but whatever. Anyway, so she's like, yeah, we're gonna make food. So, and I thought, actually, do you know what? That's actually quite a nice bonding experience. That we can cook together. And I think that, you know, that's quite a nice thing to do, right? But I think before doing that, I'd have been like, well, let me just find, because you don't know what other allergies the person might have. You can't just assume, especially in 2024, with all the different like gluten and dairy free, like egglet, like you don't know, so you can't just presume that your favorite food is going to be everybody's favorite food. So I think initially he'd said, oh, I'll just eat something else. So when Lacey and her sister had gone, she was like, right, okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna make this fajitas. So you can cut up the chicken, and he's like, oh, can't do that. And she's like, what do you mean? She's like, oh, I can't touch chicken. Like, so what happened? She's like, you know, it's just not. I'm vegetarian, you see. Now, if I'd have heard that, I'd have been like, my absolute bad. Why would I expect you to go and cut up dead chicken carcass when you've just told me that you don't eat dead animals? So actually, I do eat meat, by the way. But like, I can understand for someone that doesn't eat meat. There are some vegetarians out there that will do that, and more power to you. But I would respect also people that don't. Like, absolutely. But she looked at him like he literally landed right there, sir, from Mars. Martian man, Manhunter, has come and landed right there on top of a chicken. Like, what do you mean? You know, you can't cook. You're not gonna, right? making me feel a bit weird now. And it's like, well, it's not really that weird. I think what's a bit weird is that you decided you're going to come here and cook and decide what it is we're going to eat without asking no questions to no one about nothing. And I'm just saying, no, I don't really do that. So anyway, she's like, oh, I just think it's a bit funny that, you're hosting and like I'm going to be sitting there cutting up chicken, but okay, whatever. And from that, I was like, the energy here is not what I would. I kept trying to think about what my mum would be like if she was meeting the person that I'd married on this like crazy TV show, like. And I think my mum would just be mortified to be like, oh my god, I can't believe I've brought something that you can't eat. Like, never mind the fact I'm gonna ask you then to go and cut up the chicken. She's like, I've never met a vegetarian before. It's 2024. Have you never met a vegetarian? You've never ever encountered a vegetarian or been anywhere where there's a vegetarian menu or like that's really, 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 really bizarre to me that you've never ever ever come in. Like this is not like a rare type of Pikachu. It's a vegetarian. Like, what do you mean? So she's like, yeah. So she's like, oh, so if you ever were to come to like my house and stuff, like I'd have to think, make like a different meal. Yeah. Like that should be okay, shouldn't it? Oh, but don't bother hosting then. Like those are his dietary requirements. It's just so weird that she kind of made it like a weird. It's almost like, I can't believe you're a vegetarian. Do you know what I mean? It's just mad. Anyway, so they get talking. As I talking, the Inquisition starts, and she's like, because obviously what happened at the wedding, it wasn't great, was it? And look, I don't know how much it was edited, but to me, it was a simple mistake. Like, he saw the sister, and it was probably nervous. Just wanted to like whoever turned around, like beautiful. And then when the bride actually came in, he's probably just like, oh my god, stunning. But again, he's not really about the words, so he's already shown how into Lacey he is. And he was then trying to articulate that and say, look, I'm, it was my mistake. And obviously Lacey spoke to me about it afterwards. And, but obviously your daughter's beautiful, do you know what I mean? Of course she is, but, it's Lacey that I'm into. And she's like, well, that's not good, is it? That's not good. You don't call her beautiful. No, you just say she's a nice girl and leave it at that. You don't call her beautiful after what you've already done. And I'm like, you are coming in on smoke. And she was like, I need to know that you're serious. She's like, yeah, you look great and all that, whatever. Like, but I need to know that. And it's almost like he's the same looks that had you almost cartwheeling down the church. You've now almost turned on him to be like, oh, the looks ain't impressing me. Like, do you know what I mean? That's not impressing me. I want to know how you feel about Lacey, and it's just her. Do you love her? Do you love her? And it is the second week, so it's probably been about what, 15 days. Like, if you're gonna come in there and be like, I love your daughter, I love her. We're going to run off into the hill and have 55 children. You'd have been like, you are crazy. You're crazy. Like, and I need Lacey to just cut this off because you're going somewhere with someone crazy. So he's just like taking it easy because I think it's important that you just take the time to be around each other and learn about each other and stuff. And you're asking him out if he's in love with her. Granted, she then just said, can you see yourself getting that way? And he's like, look, all I can say is I feel for her more than any of the other girls I've ever been with at this point. She asked him something else. He's just like, look me in the eye and tell me that it's just Lacey. Because at the end of the day, like, I don't know you. Like, it might be cool with Lacey, but I don't know you. And I'm just like, this is not how, like, I get it. Mama bear, lioness, love your kids, understandable. And I know that my mum would also want to make sure that this person is in it for the right reasons and stuff. But there's a way in which to discuss things that don't come across as abrasive as this. I'm just like, me and my best mate were texting at the same time because he was watching it as well. And we're both just like, this mum though, like, and again, I never want to come for anybody's parents like that, but at the end of the day, like, she's a person. Do you know what I mean? Like, any person, parent, grandparent, whatever. Like she told him at the end of the episode about being accountable for your actions. I think she needs to be accountable for the way in which that she presented a lot of those things. Like, that would have got my back up. I'm sorry. Like, because I get it, I absolutely understand you want the best for your kid, but there's a way in which to do that doesn't make me out to be a villain when I ain't done nothing. And all I kept thinking was as well, then she's like, I want more from you. You answered. I'm just like, does she not know about his condition? Like, would she appreciate someone grilling her daughter like that, bearing in mind her condition? and and her ability to kind of articulate herself. I just thought that was really, really harsh. Anyway, fast forward then to when Lacey and the sister come back, and they're chilling and stuff and whatever, and then he makes a very harmless joke about the, because they're like, oh, he's not going to eat anything, so they've got 3 plates of food, right, that they're all eating, and he sat down and just rubbing his hands together and stuff, which to me that would never happen. We're never going to sit down for dinner and one of us is not eating anything. I promise you that. So I was like, what? So you couldn't like pick up the phone and say like, yo, bring up one vegan burger on the way back up. And I love the fact as well, sorry, even before they sat down for the thing, that she kept referring to him as vegan, and he's like, I'm not vegan, I'm vegetarian. So it's like these 2 words are not interchangeable because they're not the same thing. And it's just like, wow, you talking about like he needs education. I'm just like, I think you could do with reading something somewhere. So she's like, so yeah, so they're around the table and he's got no plate of food, right? He's sat with the same salty table, empty space, no food, and he makes what I thought was a very throwaway joke about, oh, well, that looks terrible. Obviously it doesn't look terrible. And how would he even know? One, he doesn't eat chicken, right? And number 2, he hasn't tasted your food. He hasn't tasted the food. So it's obviously a joke because, and she's like, oh, that's not very nice, is it? Not very nice. And he's like, oh, just like, and he's like, oh, bottom of the bin, that, bottom of the bin. And she's just like, that's not funny. That's not funny with the tea towel. Not funny. I think that's quite rude. She reminded me of a little bit actually. Now just saying that, yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen Come Dine With Me. There's a woman in there, yeah, who who goes to bed. Who goes to bed because she's really upset that she's lost, and she's really fuming. If she's fuming, she's just like, I can't. She's just, I can't believe. And in 4th place, I can't believe. No, because really, you've really put me last. And that's so unfair. I could have given you 0 because yours was. That's it. No, so I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. Like, she's giving that kind of energy to me. Like, she gets really upset about the fact that he's made this joke about the food. Lacey's like, I did say to you, like, like, it's not about that really. She's not about the jokes and stuff. I was banter. And then the sister then pipes in and she's like, oh, that wasn't nice, was it? Apologise. And he's like, I'm sorry, like, yeah, it was just meant to be banter, like, no offence at all. She's like, that's fine. It's fine. And she's really upset and she's like, okay, I'm gonna go. And if you go to talk and stuff, again, I'm really sorry, like, it was just a joke. And then he leaves, and then she breaks down in the biggest amount of tears, and then they're consoling her. Now, look, any mum that's crying, yeah, is always going to make me go, oh, because I'm a mama's boy, do you know what I mean? But when you just take the emotion out of it, and you put a bit of logic in there, what are you crying about? What are you crying about? He didn't taste your food. Like, she's like, I am a good cook. Like, it's mad to me how cooking is so attached to people's like feeling of worth. Do you know what I mean? Because I know, like, if I make something and it doesn't stay good, like, I just probably had a bad day, or I made a bad dish, or that doesn't mean I can't cook. Like, and ultimately, and I don't know whether as well, thinking about it, I don't know whether it was a culmination of the fact that she's overwhelmed by the process. She's already feeling a bit bad because she's coming here to make food in their apartment with no food for him. And then because he's now made a comment about it, that she's like, oh, I was already feeling bad that you couldn't eat, and now you're telling me my food looks bad. But I'm just like, you gotta learn to like laugh at yourself a little bit. And she's going on about how much he needs education and how you don't speak to people like that. Now, look, I don't know whether I would have done the same thing and been like, well, that looks terrible. Like, if it was the first time meeting my partner's parents, I don't think I would do that. But that's just not how I banter like that, unless I know you like that. But, he clearly didn't mean no offence by it. And he apologised profusely. So you could have just been like, okay, Wicked, do you know what? Yeah, okay, whatever. Do you know what I mean? You're not even eating it anyway. Do you know what I mean? Enjoy your sandpaper. Oh, sorry, there's nothing there. Do you know what I mean? You could have bantered that back and just made a joke of it and made it light, but instead made it really awkward. And literally like he'd come to your doorstep and left doo doo on rang the doorbell and left some doo doo there for you to like just was not that deep. Like it really wasn't that deep at all. Um, and then even when he's come back, he's been like, I'm really, really sorry. So no, it's fine. It's fine. End of the day, Lace will make up her own mind anyway. So I'm just like, what? Like, is it really that deep? And then, she's like, I just think you need to think about what you say in future, and then when they're going, she's like, oh, we're gonna go now. But she's like, oh, it was all going so well. And it's like, was it going well? Was it? Do you think he felt it was going well? And then Lacey's all like, when they've gone, been like, yeah, I need to get you to shut that mouth. But literally last week, you're like, I need you to talk more. And it's like, so what do you want from the guy? Like, I don't know, man. As I said, I could understand like parents and the meeting and wanting everything to be crisp, but there has to be a point where you just like, do you know what? You were a little bit unreasonable in that regard. You come into the man's house, you got no food for him to make. You want him to go and cut up your dead chicken. Sorry. 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 You want him to cook your dead chicken, and then when he makes the smallest joke, which I think anybody would have just been like, it's not offensive because really and truly you've not even tasted it, and maybe to him dead chicken looks disgusting. Maybe it does. Maybe it's just like, actually I would not be eating that because I could understand if it was some kind of like cultural dish, like, it's corrigo or ackee and salt, which is like, I'm not eating none of that filth. Ugh. Like, and it's not because they were allergic to it or didn't eat it, just because they didn't like the look of it. I can understand them being offended, like, this is my culture, like, this is my, I'm sharing my home and my whatever. She was like, I've slaved slaved over a meal for you, and you're gonna, I'm like, well, slaving. Let's be real to be real. They're fajitas. Do you know what I mean? It's fajitas, so it's never that deep. And he wasn't even eating any. I just think, yeah, it was rather OTT, and I don't know whether they just edited her bad. I don't know if that's the case, but it was not a good look, man. If that was my mum, yeah, and that was what I got to see afterwards, me and my mum would be having words like, nah, man, you can't be talking to people like that. And you can't be making your issue their issue, because your sensitivity is not his issue. Because that was a reasonable throwaway comment. Like, yeah, okay, probably a little bit ill advised to on the same day with your in-laws and stuff. But the way that apologise. Okay, sorry. Do you know what I mean? But maybe next time when you come around someone's house, maybe you just make a few inquiries about what do you eat, because I really want to make some food with you. How about that? And then when you find out that I don't actually eat the meat, don't make me sit down there and cut up the carcass. Maybe how about that? Yeah, so all in all, I thought it was a really juicy episode. It was really good to see their friends and family come, and all that chicken gate malarkey, and obviously the new couple with Luke and Amy. Next week's oh, it is next week actually, because we're on Thursday, aren't we? So next week's episode, we see Alex and Holly have Alex's mum and her best friend come to dinner. And obviously they look like they're telling them about their problems that they've had. And then it's also Rochelle and Orson's people. Well, it looks like Rochelle's best friend. Yeah, it looks like Rochelle's friend's also calling out Orson's BS, or alleged BS. And if he wants to be famous. Now, this is something that I'm really struggling with, because right at the honeymoon, Rochelle made a comment about him being an actor on the side or something. And now there's this whole thing about him wanting to be famous. So, and then obviously Rochelle's getting up and she's all vexed and stuff, being like, you're just talking BS, man. Like, you're just full of BS. You're just full of doo doo. And then she walks off and he looks vexed, looks very vexed. So, very intrigued to know where that goes, because they've made some really good headway. And it looks like they're about to make some multiple steps back. Anyway, it's been a very intriguing week. Yeah, very intriguing week. Again, I'd love to know what you guys thought of this. Like, what did you think of the last episode? Do you think the mum was right to be upset? Do you think it was an overreach? What do you think of Luke and Amy? I'm a bit like, I can't believe she's getting the ick from him, but that's just my opinion. Like, do you think actually she was right to get the ick and he's a bit intense? And what did you think about Christina and Kieran as well, and their kind of catch up? So yeah, let me know your thoughts. And if you did enjoy this, then please do drop me a like and subscribe. That'd be amazing. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one next week.